This video is the final project for USU's Professional Writing Technologies class. In this video, we are going to be talking about using Photoshop as a painting program. While Photoshop is an incredibly useful photo manipulation tool, it is also one of the more popular and effective digital painting tools. Digital artists use Photoshop this way to create completely original content, because sometimes you just have to make something new. This is more relevant for digital artists, but can still be useful for anyone who needs to create, or commission someone to create, a specific image, logo, or character. I would highly recommend learning at least some of the basics of painting in Photoshop, if only to better understand what digital artists use to create the content we all enjoy. So as a demonstration, I've recorded myself painting a simple, flat-colored character drawing. This will especially focus on using the layers function and how it is useful while painting. Here I'm starting with a blank canvas of significant size, something like 30,000 pixels square, and then I create a layer called framework. For those of you unfamiliar with free-form character drawings, it's always much easier to create a pose if you start with a basic framework. I'm using the pencil tool for its hard edges and a light, bright color so I can see the other lines I will draw later. At this point, I create another layer called Clothes, and start adding lines in a new color. There's a few places here where it becomes useful to have multiple layers, because I can erase the new lines that I might not like in this step, without worrying about erasing the lines I do like in the last step. Now, I make a layer called Ink. In traditional medium, light pencil lines are eventually covered in dark ink, which is more permanent. When I use digital media, it is much easier to ink a drawing without having to worry about smudging the ink. Watch as I select which lines from the previous two layers I want to keep. You can see here that I shortened the arm without paying attention almost at all to the other layers. I think I drew it too long before. I can turn off the visibility on the previous layers, and it gives me a much cleaner look at my new darker lines. Finally, I add a layer called Colors underneath the ink layer. This allows me to color the drawing without having to worry about covering any of the important lines. If I were doing a more detailed piece with more depth, I'd go on and make another layer called Shading to create shadows. But let's not do that here. As I finish, I hope you enjoyed this short tutorial video. Using the layers function in Photoshop for painting is really very useful and simplifies the painting process a lot. I hope this helps you understand why and how.